Good morning. It's an honor for me to welcome all the speakers on the occasion of 5th Gems and Jewellery Summit organized by the Indian Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of Indian Chamber of Commerce, I would like to welcome our chief guest, Ms. Vandana Yadav, Principal Secretary, Government Department of Industry, Commerce and Enterprises, Government of West Bengal, and MD, WBDIDC, and to the forum. I would like to thank Mr. Rajiv Garg, CEO, Gems and Jewellery Skill Council of India, to the event. It is also my privilege to welcome Mr. Soma Sundaram PR, Regional CEO, India, World Gold Council, to the summit. A soaring middle income level of consumers within the developing countries, alongside a growing fashion trend, have been significant contributors to the increase in demand for gems and jewelry in the country and around the world. In the current emerging fashion trend, diamonds are also expectedly having an increased demand these days. The increase in cross-cultural designs is one of the latest trends gaining popularity in the gems and jewelry market. Rising urbanization has resulted in changing consumer behavior related to accessories, switching from wearing more pieces of jewelry to keeping it to a minimal and sophisticated while maintaining the style statement. Such evolving factors have led to substantial demand for fashion and lightweight jewelries in the market. Post-COVID, Indian gems and jewelry units have assimilated the revolutionary technologies into their production units, which effectively craft intricate pieces of jewelry in no time for local as well as exports. Indian gem and jewelry sector is majorly focused upon export promotion and reduction of imports, which will reduce current account deficit of the country and encourage foreign currency in the market. Such focus is primarily enhanced by the skill development of artisans associated with the sector. Focusing on that goal, a common facility center has been set up by Ministry of Commerce by Government of India. Common Facility Center is a pool of high-end and capital-intensive state-of-art machinery offering various services at affordable rates, especially beneficial to the micro, small, and medium enterprises sector of the gem and jewelry industry. This will surely help the marginal workers upgrade their products, quality, and output. Although affected by the pandemic, gems and jewelry industry have seen growth recovery in terms of jewelry sales, both via showroom, e-commerce, and other means. The growth potential of the segment is huge, and it is sure to revive and restore with adequate government support, which has taken various measures recently to promote investment and upgradation of technology and skills in the industry. Having said that, one headwind which our industry is facing is constantly changing landscape when it comes to gold prices, laws, and duty structure, which make it difficult for an average person to navigate and manage. We hope to understand more about these problems from our esteemed panel. And without taking more time, I would like to welcome on stage our next speaker for an insightful deliberation. Thank you. Mr. Soma Sundar, excuse me. Sorry about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, next I'd like to call upon keynote address Mr. Shom Sundaram PR, Regional CEO, India, World Gold Council.
Chief Guest, Ms. Vandana Yadav, friends and colleagues in the industry, very good morning. Thank you all for being here today. I'm very glad to hear that this is the 5th conference of ICC on gold. And I'm glad that we have been supporting this every year. East is a very important market for gold. So it is important that we take the discussions forward. So I will always be quite brief about what I want to say. We have lots of panel discussions today. We'll try and cover a lot of points there. Let me set the context here. We have seen a lot of developments from the government side in the last couple of years, starting with, of course, the sovereign gold bond, gold monetization scheme, some of which did not pick up. But of late, if you see, they have made mandatory hallmarking. With there are, I know, some dialogues going on about unique identification and things like that, but it is an interesting move that the government of India has made. You have also seen the government come out with an international exchange. Now, some of that may not really mean for the jewelry industry. What does it mean? So there is an exchange. So what, we were getting gold earlier, we were going to get gold now. So what is the big difference? But that's where we need to just take our, as a second largest consumer of gold, second largest market in gold in the global market. We spend nearly $60 billion every year on gold. We need to look at what is happening internationally. Internationally, if you see, gold is now coming back into a great significance, even with the central bankers. Sorry about that. Gold is coming back because you saw central banks buy close to 1,000 tons last year. Even during the gold standard, they did not buy 1,000 tons. Of course, driven by China, but India has been buying gold. Several central banks have started buying gold. So on the one hand, gold is becoming a monetary asset once again, a very, very significant asset. So when you start using it for jewelry and for adornment, you're going to have a clash of interests here. Is it an asset or is it a lifestyle? Is it an ornament or is it a lifestyle? Now, we would like to treat it like an ornament, but obviously it has a financial implication. At 62,000 rupees, today Indian prices for 10 grams is 62. It's a serious investment. So it means that when some household is willing to put that much money, you have to create more trust. As a consumer, we can't simply continue to behave like a consumer in the world. We got to probably take a little stronger and a little more decisive role in the global markets. Because definitely with the demands on resources for our infrastructure, this outflow of dollar will continue to concern any government. And we are going to be in that spotlight for a long time to come, at least, till maybe monetization picks up or we find other means of finding gold. So this is, I would just set this context. You know, globally, lots of things are happening in gold. And domestically, we need resources, prices are going up. So obviously, there is going to be a lot more in terms of how we use gold. I'll also give you one more data point. Recently, I mean, we all know that the tax compliance is increasing. And we know our industry has benefited from a little softer compliance. And as this gets a little tighter, you're going to have people pulling out of gold and going into financial investments. So unless, and the last one again, digitalization across the financial sector is improving. But is it such a great thing in the gold market? What's happening around the world? That's again a question for the industry. And if you see, recently the government has just made a change. Anything above 5 lakhs, if you pay insurance premium, that's taxable. Now, if you say gold is a financial asset, 62,000 whatever, when other financial asset classes are getting taxed in this manner, there is a genuine question that will arise that, you know, what kind of taxation should apply to this asset class, which is, as I said, $60 billion is flowing into this every year. This is not to say that the industry is not doing a good job. It's creating a lot of jobs. It's got an immense potential to increase exports, but it is important to understand the context here. So we have to see some of the changes that is being brought out in this light. Now, where do we stand with these high prices? You know, where do we stand in terms of trust? We have done surveys. It still continues to show that consumers are concerned about purity, about various aspects of gold industry, which is why we said the industry needs a unified voice. It needs to take charge of its own fate. And we are obviously working with various associations to see that we have a self-regulatory organization. We will, as time goes by, we will continue to increase awareness of that. But we see the gold industry needs a self-regulatory organization, just like a AMFI or the IT industry has a NASSCOM, things like that. We just need to take our own best practices and spread it across. That's one of the things that we want to do for this country. And the last one, as far as ICC is concerned, we have the fifth this thing, so I will stop with that, but very important. I think there is no unified voice in this industry. I have heard it even from the ministry that, you know, one association says one thing and then immediately another association goes and says something else. It is an absolute confusion that is being created by ourselves. Not because we don't mean well, but the problem is we have other various interests that come in the way of facilitating a unified dialogue. I think that should be sorted out. And what I would request ICC is, now that you have actually got this on the 5th year in a row, and it is now becoming a fixed feature of the gold market, could we actually, as your committee, take a stand on many of the contentious issues? You don't always have to go against an association, but a HUID. Well, you've got the biggest number of artisans here. HUID, do we support it or we don't support it? We don't support it. Why don't we support it? I think it is an important thing to have a dialogue. It's not about having an argument all the time. It's just important to have a dialogue and present to BIS, to the government, that these are the issues that we face. And I can tell you, we have done this with various things. Much of what we say is a problem is a self-created problem. And I think that is where I said, understand that compliance, tax compliance is improving. Money from the gold market will shrink. Because if you really look at it, we all know it. We have been in this industry for a long time. The laxity in compliance did help the market. Now, when the laxity is being tightened, where do we stand when prices touch 60,000 and 75,000? Very important question for all of us. Otherwise, you will be in that proverbial frog in the water as the water gets heated up. That kind of a situation. But let me once again say, Indian industry, we have seen the world. China is number 1, India is number 2. It has got immense potential. The handcrafting skills here is just unbeatable. At the same time, we still don't have a strong market in exports of gold. Look at diamonds, what they have done. I think it is important for us to replicate it and build again for that a unified voice where ICC can play a role. Thank you all very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time that I call my next speaker. Can I please have our special guest, Mr. Rajiv Garg, to say a few words? Please put your hands together for Mr. Rajiv Garg, CEO, Gem Jewellery Skill Council of India.
Thank you, Vinod ji. Thank you, Shivankar. And thank you, ICC, for having me here. Thoda Hindi English mix bolunga chalega because I think there are a lot of people who would want to hear in Hindi also. थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट बोलूंगा. आई नो दिस इज अ गोल्ड इवेंट, लेकिन मैं सेक्टर स्किल काउंसिल से आता हूं और गोल्ड पर्टिकुलरली जब हम लोग गोल्ड ज्वेलरी की और हैंड क्राफ्टेड ज्वेलरी की बात करते हैं तो स्किल सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट कंपोनेंट है. अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम उसको खाली लेबर चार्ज करके भूल जाते हैं, बट विदाउट आर्टिजन्स, विदाउट स्किल्स in crafting the jewelry, I think gold would just be another metal. So gold has its value because we want, and as she said in the beginning, every woman wants a lot of jewelry, and to make jewelry from gold you need skills. थोड़ी सी बातें हैं जो विनोद जी ने भी बोला और सोम ने भी अपने उसमें एड्रेस में स्किल का बात किया. स्किल सिनेरियो में क्या चेंजेस हो रहे हैं, गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज में क्या चेंजेस हो रहे हैं, और आईसीसी एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड जेम्स एंड ज्वेलरी इंडस्ट्री इन पर्टिकुलर ईस्ट में क्या कर सकती है ताकि हम स्किल में आगे बढ़ सकें. आई वाज जस्ट स्पीकिंग टू सम पीपल और वो बोले ट्रेंड कारीगर नहीं मिलता है, स्किल्ड कारीगर नहीं मिलता है. तो ये स्थिति अगर है आज की डेट में तो उसके लिए कहीं ना कहीं हम लोग भी जिम्मेदार हैं. अनलेस वी गिव कारीगर इज ड्यू, ये प्रॉब्लम रहने वाली है। आई नो आपने बाहर देखा होगा तरकशी ज्वेलरी के दो आर्टिजन बैठे हैं, वो हमने फैसिलिटेट किया, वो कटक से आए हैं। आप जाके उनसे बात करेंगे तो बोलेंगे उनके बच्चे ऑटो रिक्शा चलाना प्रेफर करते हैं या कोई मोबाइल रिपेयर शॉप पे बैठना प्रेफर करते हैं, लेकिन तरकशी में बैठ के ज्वेलरी बनाना प्रेफर नहीं करते हैं, क्योंकि वो कहते हैं वहां पर उनको ज्यादा मिलता है, यहाँ पर उनको कुछ नहीं मिलता है। तो अगर वो सिनेरियो है तो उस सिनेरियो को बदलने की जरूरत है, क्योंकि अदरवाइज एक तरफ तो हम कंप्लायंस, टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर, गोल्ड रेट की बात कर रहे हैं, बट सोचिए कि अगर आपको आर्टिजन ही नहीं मिलेंगे और सब कुछ आप जो फैक्ट्री में भी बनाते हैं कास्ट ज्वेलरी, वहां पर भी कारीगर चाहिए। इट्स नॉट दैट कि वो सब ऑटोमेटिकली बन जाता है। तो अगर वी डू नॉट हैव sufficient number of trained people in the industry, then we will face another type of challenge in coming years. So we all need to think about it and work about it. I'll just put a few pointers. I'm not going to get into the details of those things, but क्या हो रहा है at government level, at international level. You all know India has G20 presidency this year. Now, under G20, there are 6 themes which they are working on, and one of those pillars, one of the theme is education and skilling. Education skilling theme में we have been participating, जो ministry के webinar हैं, much 2 webinars have happened, and what they are focusing on is future of work. के आने वाले time में work place कैसे होने वाला है, वर्क प्रोसेसेस कैसे होने वाली हैं, और वर्क फोर्स कैसे होने वाली है। जो स्किल हमको लगता है आज इम्पोर्टेंट है, अब से 10 साल बाद हो सकता है उनकी जरूरत ही ना हो। सो आप लोगों ने सुना होगा 3D प्रिंटिंग। नाउ 3D मेटल प्रिंटिंग इज अवेलेबल। आज की डेट में इट इज नॉट कॉमन बिकॉज इट इज प्रॉब्ली नॉट इकोनॉमिकली वायबल, बट इन कमिंग ईयर्स इफ 3D प्रिंटिंग इज व्हाट टेक्स प्लेस, then probably हर एक jeweler की शॉप में you will find a 3D printer जो डायरेक्टली गोल्ड से प्रिंट कर सकता हो ज्वेलरी। तो आप जाएंगे, आप अपना डिजाइन बताएंगे, वो कहेंगे आप शाम को आके अपना ज्वेलरी का पीस लेके जाइए, एज लॉन्ग एज इट इज अ सिंपल पीस, रिंग है, इयररिंग है, पेंडेंट है। सो वी हैव टू थिंक अबाउट दोज थिंग्स। अनदर थिंग इन द सेम लाइन, GJSCI or IIT Bombay, we have been working on a project for last almost 3 years. We lost about a year because of COVID, which is about use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in gems and jewelry industry. हम लोग 2 प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं, एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग साइड में, एक रिटेल साइड में। एंड रमेश सर, योर ग्रैंडसन has been in conversation with us, and Thanga Mile is parallelly trying to work with IIT Bombay on that. So that is another skill set that would come. So अगर हम उसको use करना चाहेंगे, so what we are working with IIT Bombay is developing the software, developing a product. Now on Monday in Mumbai, we are having a workshop at IIT Bombay wherein we are going to announce the launch of the retail product, wherein it is on retail forecasting. Individual store level पे आप ये predict कर सकेंगे कि next week, week after that, third week, for next 3 months, weekly basis पे what product would your store sell and in what price range. So if we say next 4 weeks में you are going to sell 200 rings, I'll also tell you out of these 200 rings, you would sell probably 50 rings which would be under 25,000 rupees. You would sell another 100 rings which would be between 25,000 and 50,000. So that type of a distribution will be able to forecast. And we have been working with some of the leading retailers, and the forecast of the model maps very, very close. I would say 97-98% to the real figures जो बाद में होता है. So my model predicted something, and then you actually had that time, had that sale, and when you compare, it looks similar, it looks same. So that is a very strong change. The way we have been doing merchandising, retail merchandising in our stores is going to change. Because आपको फिर एक कोई merchandiser ऐसा नहीं लगेगा कि जो बैठ के आपका sample line देखे and decide करे, okay, in this store I want to carry these products. So our computerized software would be able to predict it for you. So that is again a shift in the type of skill which would be required or which would be adopted by our industry. Another important factor which Vinodji said, and you have a CFC here now in Kolkata. We have a lot of CFCs in a lot of places. But what they all miss is a common thing of skilling infrastructure. CFC बन जाता है, equipments आ जाते हैं, but वहाँ पर skilling का infrastructure नहीं होता है, space भी नहीं होता है, trainers भी नहीं होता है. So again, most of these CFCs after you would see 3 years, 5 years are just existing, they are not functioning. So actually GJEPC has reached out to us to find out a solution to this problem. How can we have training happening in these CFCs? So जो कारीगर है वहां पर उसको पता चले कि इसका utilization क्या है, what are the advantages of this CFC, how can he make use of it, how can he get benefited. So we are working on something. There are many things, but I think I'll just add one more thing for Kolkata. We have been talking with Shivankar, with your Ankur Hati Association, Podar Sunil ji यहाँ पर हैं, about setting up a training institute somewhere in Kolkata, maybe Ankur Hati because there is a big production center there, or anywhere else, or even in CFC, part of CFC, but industry has to come forward. Now, government is very clear, they are not going to spoon feed everything. वो बोलते हैं कि अगर industry को trained manpower चाहिए, then industry should come forward, take a leap, make investments, at least in training infrastructure. बाकी सब इंडस्ट्री में, मैंने फूड इंडस्ट्री में 15 साल काम किया है, हम कोई गवर्नमेंट ट्रेनिंग पे डिपेंडेंट नहीं होते थे, हम अपनी ट्रेनिंग के लिए खुद इन्वेस्ट करते थे. सो व्हाई नॉट आवर इंडस्ट्री हियर? सो वी शुड, एज Soham was saying, we have to look at it differently. We have to look at gems and jewelry sector as an industry which is internationally competing with others. We are exporting diamonds, we export a lot. Why not gold jewelry? Again, your hallmarking, your standardization, World Gold Council is doing a lot of work on that, and skilling. Have a set of skill. Why can't industry say कि आपका GJSA का सर्टिफिकेट लेके आइए तो हमको मालूम है आप स्किल्ड हैं? You still want to have, आपके यहाँ बाबू काम कर रहा है, उसका बेटा, उसका भतीजा, उसका ग्रैंडसन, उसको आता होगा. And then we all know somebody who has been so reliable would probably not be as competent as you would want him to be. Last thing, another future sign, we all love natural diamonds, but we all know lab-grown diamonds are going to get big. Now, the government of India has made a provision of 150 crores for research and development work in lab-grown diamonds. And IIT Chennai is the lead institute who's doing this. So at GJSCI, we are in conversation with Professor Rao there, and we are going to make some qualifications in lab-grown diamond area also. What I'm trying to say here is that as industry, we should be open to these new ideas, because finally your natural diamonds are mine. You have sustainability issue, you would have supply issues. So lab grown diamonds sooner or later are going to push natural diamonds slowly out. So we should be willing to adapt to that, and we should be willing to invest in skilling in these new upcoming areas, so that we are ready, our industry is ready to face the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Hello. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I welcome on this podium Ms. Vandana Yadav, IAS, our chief guest. She's the Principal Secretary for Department of Industry, Commerce and Enterprises, Government of West Bengal, MD, WBIDC.
Namaskar and a very good morning. I must compliment the organizers for starting on time. I have got tired of coming into empty halls and then now made a point that I should come at least 10 minutes late. It was very good to see the house ready and the function having started. So I think you've started on a very good note. And I must also thank the speakers before me for actually setting the context and giving relevance to what we are talking about. Mr. Bamalwa talked of certain very good things. Mr. Somsundram, Mr. Rajesh Garg, really thankful for the things which you put forward. Because you actually helped me tone what I wanted to say. So the gems and jewelry is a sector where everybody has something to say. Well, in fact, I think, every morning discussion, किसी को सोना लेना और ना लेना पर सोने का दाम बहुत हो गया है, हर कोई बोल लेता है. So it's a sector where everyone has an interest, everyone has something to say. So it is also a sector where we in Bengal have a very strong historical and artistic legacy, but we keep building on that. And I'm very glad that Mr. Garg said something very nice that we need to look at the future. So what is it that we want to talk of? What are the things which I wanted to say? See, I'm glad that the issue of exports and prices came up, and we keep talking of diamond exports, and we keep talking that, why gold is not missing and how much we import. I was in Department of Commerce before coming back to Bengal, and we always talked of gold being the major drain on our dollars, that, we need to import so much. But even after importing it, why can't we do the value add and we can make it into a dollar earner rather than just something with which we import gold? And I think this is where the artisanal quality of the Bengali karigar, I think, and the training which you talked about, that can be the USP. I think especially gold being a lifestyle product, and as we move to a higher level or a better economic position, everybody wants that unique handcrafted piece. I mean, after just like bulk gold, it is also matter that, every uniquely crafted piece, that handwork thing, whether it is a cartier or something, that is what will fetch it value. And that is something which we can very readily provide. So we can actually train our artisans into the new technologies, maybe, just make it a little more, provide a little better working conditions, do better designing, which a lot of our designers are actually doing and more capable of. We can actually bring all of them together to make gold jewelry one of our major export earners also. Along with this, what I wanted to say is that, for us from the government, I think it's a very, very important sector. The first specialized park of WBIGC was in the gems and jewelry sector, which was Manikanchan. That was the first time when we came up with a product-specific park, and we thought we had done it very well. Of course, with time, it has changed, and then we came up with Ankur Hati, which remains our most successful park in terms of its brand value, which it has created. So while we have this history of the government and the industry coming together, there is a lot more which we can do. And this is where I am really glad of the speakers who came before me, because this is exactly what I wanted to talk about. That is, in fact, that was my purpose for coming here. Past glory, what we have done is good. What now? So I think in terms of the Gold Council, standardizing, building investor confidence, what can we do for that? Please tell us, we want to set up those facilities, whether it is hallmarking facilities, it is any type of standardization which can do, any type of certification agencies we can set up. We have the Ankur Hati Park, we have the Common Facility Center. We want to set up these type of branding and certifying bodies and give them place here. We would be very happy if you could come up and take this work. Similarly, Mr. Garg talked before me. He said, he hit the nail on his head when he said that we have common facility centers, and at least I myself am talking last years with different councils at different forums saying that, we really want to do training facilities at the Ankur Hati Park. Not only our own common facility center, we have a full-fledged building next door which has been created for training infrastructure. It was created for that. It has adequate space, and I would really want this to be taken up either by the council or by the skill council to come forward and take this. So I think that is where I would want you all to come together. And since all of you are already here, ICC is a forum which we work with very closely. I would request Mr. Sen to be our local representative. He is in the park, he is from here, he has a brand value which we all cherish. So if he could be the tie between us, be our voice, and put an action plan together of how we can make this training space and the standardization facilities available and take the Ankur Hati Park to a next level. So I would be very happy some concrete suggestions, action plan could come out of this, and you have every stakeholder here. we have our full support with you. You tell us what is it that you require us to do. If the infrastructure is not here, we have this ready infrastructure which we are willing to give to the council. We want the council to take it over and do some good training programs over here and bring the gold jewelry to the next level of value add, which we are very confident we can reach. I think that's all that I had to say, and all my points have been well covered. I'm very glad that we could have this discussion. I think I'll end here wishing a good session and wishing everyone a good, productive panel discussions. And lastly, like I said, we would request that all the stakeholders could come together and present us with an action plan so we can say something concrete came out of this. We would be very happy to collaborate, work together in any way that is possible, and we look forward to that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now it's time, ladies and gentlemen, that we hand over the mementos to our guests for the 5th ICC Gems Jewellery Summit 2023. I would request Mr. Vimod Vamalva, Director, Nemichand Vamalva and Sons, to kindly hand over the memento to Mr. Som Sundaram, PR, Regional CEO, India, World Gold Council. Thank you, sir. Now I would request Mr. Shubhankar Sen, MD and CEO, Senco Gold, Co-Chairman, ICC National Expert Committee on Jewelry and Lifestyle, to kindly hand over the memento to our special guest, Mr. Rajiv Garg, CEO, Gems Jewellery Skill Council of India, and also to hand over the memento to our chief guest, Ms. Vandana Yadav, IAS, Principal Secretary, Department of Industry and Commerce and Enterprises, Government of West Bengal. Now I would request Mr. Shubhankar Sen, MD and CEO, Senco Gold, to present the vote of thanks.
थैंक यू एवरीवन। आज आप लोग सब इस इवेंट में उपस्थित हुए हो, आपका व्यस्त समय निकाल के, तो इसके लिए मेरे तरफ से बहुत धन्यवाद। बहुत दूर दूर से मेरे को मालूम है आप लोग डिस्ट्रिक्ट से भी आए हो, आप काम करके आए हो। द इवेंट वुडंट हैव बीन सक्सेसफुल अगर आप लोग सब यहाँ पे ना पहुंचो, बट एट द सेम टाइम हम लोग को याद रखना है कि ये जो आज हम लोग सुने हैं और सुनने वाले हैं, ये एक फैक्ट है कि समय बदल रहा है, चीजें बदल रही है। मेरे स्टेज में जो है साथ में आवर चेयरमैन मिस्टर विनोद बमलवा, मिस्टर सोम सुंदरम, वंदना मैम एंड राजीव जी, जो हम लोग को आज ओपनिंग स्पीच में बताया गया है, क्या क्या अगर हम लोग उसका एसेंस समझे तो क्या है। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल गवर्नमेंट का सोच, रेगुलेशंस आ रहे हैं, सारे चीजों का ट्रांसपेरेंसी चाहिए, और उसके साथ साथ ये जो बदलता हुआ समय और डिजिटलाइजेशन हो रहा है, इस सिचुएशन में एज अ मेंबर ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री, या तो आप रेजिस्ट करो, या तो ये जो चेंज है, जो परिवर्तन है, इसको आप अपना एक पार्ट बना लो और खुद को चेंज करो। तो जैसे हम लोग ओवर द पास्ट 100 years देखे हैं कि परिवर्तन इज अ कांस्टेंट, तो इसके मतलब क्या हुआ कि ये जो डिजिटल वर्ल्ड होने वाले हैं, इसमें हम लोग जितना अपने आप को अपडेट कर दे, उतना ही हम लोग सारे लोगों के लिए अच्छे हैं। कि हम लोग कोई भी लेवल पे रहे, खुद को ऐसा नहीं समझना चाहिए कि मैं छोटा हूँ या कोई बड़ा है। अपने अपने लेवल में आज हम लोग जो सुनते हैं, विच इज कॉल्ड डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन ऑफ फंडिंग, डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन ऑफ आइडियाज, मतलब ये जो पावर है, ये पावर खाली कुछ लोगों के ऊपर नहीं है, ये पावर धीरे धीरे ऐसा ही होने वाला है कि हम लोग सभी के हाथ में, अपने आपस में, इट इज अप टू अस दैट हम लोग वो पावर को कैसे यूज करें। तो उस हिसाब से हम लोग को आगे बढ़ना चाहिए। एट द सेम टाइम राजीव जी बोला बंगाल के साथ कारीगरी इसका एक बहुत ही एक क्लोज बंधन है। हम लोग प्राउडली बोलते हैं कि कारीगर ऑल ओवर इंडिया जो काम करते हैं सब बंगाल से मैक्सिमम जाते हैं। तो ये जो स्किलिंग है, ये जो अपडेशन है, ये नया जनरेशन को हम लोग कैसे ट्रेनिंग दे पाए, ये हम लोग को मिलके, सारे लोगों को मिलके, पूरा इंडस्ट्री को मिलके काम करना चाहिए। एंड आई थिंक दैट उस हिसाब से उनके साथ साथ जो डेटा एनालिटिक्स, हम लोग का जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है, गोल्ड जो एक हाई वैल्यू प्रोडक्ट है, वो किस डिजाइन में या किस प्रोडक्ट में हम लोग सही तरीके से यूज करें, ये हम लोग को पूरा क्लियरली डेटा ड्रिवन डिसीजन मेकिंग जो बोलते हैं उसमें देखना चाहिए। और लास्टली वंदना मैम का जो कहना था कि अपना बंगाल जो है, हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं, सोनार बांग्ला, राइट? या you know, even so many of our names are linked to gold. So the point is that ये जो बंगाल के साथ गोल्ड और जेम एंड ज्वेलरी का जो सोच है, when the government wants to come forward and support, but at the same time हम लोग को as an industry ideas देना पड़ेगा. As an industry we have to go forward, and we are thankful to the government that they are there to support us, not only for the growth of the state but the growth of the nation. तो उस हिसाब से हम लोग को अल्टीमेटली एज अ स्टेट एंड अ नेशन वी हैव टू थिंक दैट पूरा वर्ल्ड को हम लोग को प्रोडक्ट सप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, तो ही अपना देश का इनकम बढ़ेगा और अपना भी इनकम बढ़ेगा। तो उस हिसाब से थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू टू ऑल द स्पॉन्सर्स, वर्ल्ड गोल्ड काउंसिल, NSE, SGL, NCB, our associations GJPC and GJC for staying with us. And जैसे सोम सुंदरम सर बताए कि हर एक इंडस्ट्री स्टेक होल्डर्स का हर एक एक थॉट होते हैं, उनका इंटरेस्ट होता है। आई थिंक समवेयर डाउन द लाइन हम लोग सारे लोग को इंटरकनेक्टेड में अगर हम लोग साथ में मिलके काम करें तो आई थिंक अल्टीमेटली वी विल अचीव which is best for the industry. So उसके साथ साथ great thanks to the organizers, my fellow members from the ICC Gem and Jewellery Expert Committee. हम लोग ये event 5th year कर रहे हैं, and it is the continuous endeavor of ICC and our fellow members sitting right there for ensuring that this event is a great success. So thank you, look forward, and जैसे सोम सुनम सर बताए, I think it's great responsibility, and as a council we will put our best efforts to make sure that we can bring everyone under the same roof. Thank you very much.